Ah, another Sunday comes to an end. See the sunset off in the background there? Move my gigantor sized Saturn headed melon. I don't even know if anybody be out this late on a Sunday. But I figured I'd just tune in for a few minutes before I go inside and vegetate. Uh, Hop a squat in the back of the car here. So, how was everybody's week out there? Anybody have a good week? Just a lot of weird shit happened, you know. Peter Mayhew passed away, and it's just when you get older, you start realizing that, all these people you grew up with and admired are not immortal. You have to learn to face that we're not getting out alive, None of us are. Nobody is special. Nobody's exceptional to the rules. It kind of reminds me of, when my one teacher back in high school, high school chemistry, he taught us the 3 laws of thermodynamics. And I think he said basically rule number 1, everyone's in the game. Rule number 2, everyone's going to lose the game. And rule number 3, you can't leave the game. And that's, pretty much it. You got to deal with what you got. And I don't know, it's just little days, things like this I appreciate more than anything. Look at that. That's just beauty right there. I'll get around to Game of Thrones when I get around to it. The Doctor YouTube's posting Series 11 clips, huh? Yep. Not much really to talk about on Series 12. They were filming at Tredegar House this last week, and Tredegar House was used, I think last time it was all the way back in the end of time. And that's, where the, what's his name lived, the rich dude and his crazy, psychotic, weird daughter that he was going to make immortal just for shits and giggles. Ugh. But doing fine. It's just sometimes I sit here and just start getting reflected and start thinking. One day you're just a few years old and you're pondering the universe, and next thing you know, it's, I don't care how it's pronounced. You know where it is. Okay. Just a lovely, lovely, quiet day. Got my lawn mowed today. Also, some more weirdness. Yeah, apparently Matt Smith and Dominic Monaghan's names have magically disappeared off the cast list for Rise of Skywalker over there on the Disney site. And the thing is, it's too late. There's screen caps of them all over the place. There's the cat's out of the bag. I don't know why they just don't admit it, that it's going on, because there's no way that Disney.co.uk screwed up to the point they put 2 names on that cast list that weren't in that movie, especially Dominic Monaghan and Matt Smith. So come on, this is Disney. They don't make screw ups that bad. It's not like they were The Walking Dead that one season. Somebody in marketing screwed up royally. But why don't they just come out and admit it? That the guy is in the movie. I don't know. Depends on who Matt Smith's playing. I'm seeing clips of that Charles Manson movie that he's doing now all over the place. Charlie Says. And it just really perturbs me that, we still live in a culture where serial murderers and all that are, placed in some kind of, category as like being popular and shit. It's like, there ain't nothing popular about it. The guy was just a nutbag. Ugh. So nothing in particular on my mind. I just figured I'd pop on for a few minutes. Oh yeah, and I don't know how many have heard this. I've mentioned it in other videos, but if you're just tuning in, yeah. Remember when we saw those photos of Tazan Cole and Bradley Walsh in the tuxedos? Apparently, the Doctor's been cited in one as well at the Tredegar House filming. So, kind of makes you wonder there. Like I said, I'm just hoping this whole beginning of the season don't turn out to be this one big Bond joke. But nothing big going on, nothing smashing. I hope everybody's went and watched the review of Avengers Endgame. We put that up. Unfortunately, it didn't get put up till way later that night because dummy me started rendering, and I come back to it about 10 minutes later, and then I realized, oh shit, I started rendering that thing in 1080p. So I just let it run at that point since it's already a third over. So that's why it took so long to get that one up, because I let it render in 1080p. Now, when the series starts, if they're going back to Sundays, I'm going to have to go back to 720 on those because it's literally going to have to go up that night. There's been no word yet. Like I said, I had one source for a while that's telling me March of 2020. There's been other things saying it might get kicked up to January of 2020. So I'll just have to play it by ear till I hear something new. Sorry about that. We got some cars running by here now. This road rarely gets too busy except during the mid-afternoon. It's kind of weird for a Sunday night. I wonder what they're all up to. Sorry, but hang on. I got to find a way to stabilize this thing. No. I'm just sitting in the back of the car here in the driveway, see? Just dummy me. It's this phone case I have on here. It's kind of peculiar to hold it the one way because the way of it's shaped. So I just like to, just admiring what I see, while it's still here. Beautiful view. So anything else on anybody's minds? Because I'm going to give you about a few more minutes and I'm going to run in because I want to get some stuff done because then I got to go to bed. So the alarm clock calls early. Oh yeah, a lot of birds out now. Greetings for you folks who are all hopping in. Like I said, nothing earth-shaking that we don't already know. Here it's about 8 o'clock in the evening, coming up on that. It's going to be, we're coming up on, as we get towards June 21st, the days are going to get longer and longer, so look at that. Let's see if I can get a look at look at that beautiful sunset over there, man. I just love that. Doctor versus the Doctor. Now, the only way you'd have that happen, we were discussing that. How many here listen to Legend of the Traveling TARDIS radio show? Anybody? Anybody ever heard of Legend of the Traveling TARDIS radio show? Hosted by Christian Basil? Okay, if you haven't heard of it, go look it up. They've got a page on Facebook. We just put one up yesterday. We recorded last week. We did one on the Valyard. That's why I thought of it. The Valyard, like I said, for you new folks who've never heard of them, was supposedly an amalgamation of the Doctor's darker side that was supposed to take place between his 12th and 13th incarnation. But remember, that episode that introduced him was all the way back in the 6th Doctor era, in Time of a Trial Lord, as with a Trial of a Time Lord. And that right there would be a good instance where you're going to have the Doctor versus the Doctor. Now, they tried it with the Master. The Master is supposed to be like the Moriarty to the Doctor Sherlock Holmes. But the thing is, there were other renegade Time Lords out there you haven't seen yet in the new series. There was the Ronnie, who was a cold calculating scientist who, performed, experiments on people and shit. And, people, places, and things. There was the meddling monk, who was introduced all the way back in the Hartnell era. It was the first time you ever saw another TARDIS, was all the way back then in the Time Meddler. Yeah, I have some Doctor Who in there on DVD and Blu-ray. So, I don't know about Gallifrey anymore, to be honest with you. It's just, I don't know. It's just, it kind of lost its magic to me after a while. Yeah, there was the war chief and his group that were kidnapping people. That was for the second Doctor's last adventure in the War Games, and they were running around in Sid Rats, which were basically second-rate TARDISes. I haven't seen that one in a while. I may have to pop it in if I find it anywhere. Let's see. I know, the whole Gallifrey thing, it's kind of weird now. But, yeah, so that means it's a little bit after 8. It's about 8:15 here then. We're 5 hours behind you in the UK. But mainly I just wanted to drop in and say, look, with Peter Mayhew passing and, so many others, it's just, time that, you sit down and think, what are you going to do with what time you got? And I have no idea. The live streams literally just hit me when I suddenly have something I want to talk about. They just, bam, hit me dead on. That's why it's hard to just schedule one, because I don't want to pre-plan it or anything. The only thing when I really pre-planned was the one where, what was it? When I broke out into was He-Man gay. That one I was like, because that was a subject I've been wanting to talk about. Because the problem is the American mall is going extinct like the dinosaur. Nearly every mall you walk into now is pretty empty, because either the rent's been jacked up, the sales aren't there, because why go out and buy something at a mall when you can go online and with a credit card or a PayPal account, you can have shit sent straight to your house. I don't want to discuss that particular subject on now, because I don't have to expose him. I already know exactly who he is. It's just the second I say his name, he'll flag the video and have it taken down because he has rights. So, hell, I know his name. I know his home address. I can tell you exactly where he lives. I can even show you the house. But what would be the point? I'm not going to let him drag me down, guys. Come on. I got better things to do, because, see, internet trolls I can't figure out, because he's been doing this for 4 years now, and he doesn't seem to realize, even if I complied with this sacred wish that he's, getting driven off the internet, I'm still going to go to bed, get up the next morning, and go to work. I'm still going to come home to my house. Like, sorry, it's like, why would I be intimidated by such a thing? Yeah, I've been meaning to do more live streams, but it really has to hit me. Plus, I'm trying to write the latter half of What Lies Beneath. I have the outline done, but there's quite a bit I changed, because I wanted to rework a few things as the story went along. So now I got to go back to my original notes, do a little bit more, bullet points on those, and then hopefully get a plot in motion, get things running towards the end on this one, because I had no idea it had been running quite as long as I thought. I thought this one was going to be a short one, but the thing is, I'm so used to a good long format where things are revealed to you bit by bit, kind of like the classic series of Doctor Who. And so that's why I write that way. Okay, Peter Capaldi is doing con appearances. He's living his life. He did a couple charity appearances in Scotland a little while back. He's doing fine. Now, someone asked me what was my most disappointing thing in Series 11. The only really, really, really disappointing thing was the villain in Rosa, Krasko. Um, the problem is with Krasko, he was not a threat. He was just an annoyance. And that's where a lot of people, got kind of tuned out, was some of the villains that they had in the last series just weren't up to par. And Krasko was one of them. Now, if I had been writing Rosa, and I've told quite a few friends of mine of this, I don't know if you've heard this yet or not, so you may want to listen in. But if I was writing the episode Rosa, the way I would have Krasko work, instead of doing that stupid, we stuck an implant in your head at Stormgate so you can't harm anybody, because that right there, you've completely neutered the villain. What you do is this. He can alter time by nudging Rosa Parks away from the bus. But he can't kill her. Because if he kills her or kills anybody that's participating in the event, it will not only not avert the timeline, it will lead to like something nasty, like a time quake or a time storm that'll wipe out his entire existence. But he can kill the Doctor and her companions because they're not part of the timeline. That's how I would have written it. Therefore, while Krasko would be an annoyance to the folks in the time stream, such as Rosa and all them, he would be a legitimate threat to the Doctor and her companions, because guess what? He can kill them without averting, or causing any damage to the time stream. That's how I would have written it. Now, but like I said, hindsight is 2020. The problem is I'm shocked. The thing is, while the villain in Rosa was kind of a letdown, the fact that they had the courage to go to that place and that time, that took a lot of stones. It really did. Because while the villain sucked, the fact that they didn't cheap out or back off on the portrayal of 1950s Alabama, that right there took a lot of guts. Because it was not a happy-go-lucky time in American history. It was a chapter that nobody wants to remember and nobody wants to think of. So I think I would have made Arachnids a two-parter, and put more of a threat factor in there. Also, the other thing about Arachnids in the UK, that's one that really niggled at me, was it was inhumane for the guy to shoot the big spider, but rounding them all up and shoving them into a tunnel to suffocate to death was okay. Wait a minute, what? So right there, that's where you lost some people too, Arachnids in the UK, because also a lot of people are harping on the fact that they thought the guy Chris Noth was playing was kind of making fun of Trump. The problem is, I saw him more as making fun of they could have made a lot more. You see, I kind of saw him as making fun of the upper class in general more than I did as Trump. But as I said, there was just a lot of things in that story that kind of disturbed me. Now, one of the ones that people were also harping on is It Takes You Away because of the frog. And I'm like, the frog was done that way on purpose. The reason being is, how do you portray a being that is the essence of an entire universe? And the frog bit kind of made me think of Douglas Adams more than anything, because here's this essence of an entire universe as this little surrealistic looking frog. So, okay, was there any other ones? Yeah, because someone asked about Series 11, so I was giving you a few here and there. The problem with me was, while Series 11 was not the best thing in the world, it certainly was not the worst. How many here remember Series 7? The great movie poster season. That there, oh God, some of those episodes were horrible. Sure, Hyde was okay. Crimson Horror was excellent. But then you had Journey to the Center of My Disappointment, or Journey to the Center of the TARDIS. Yeah, Series 7 was split. If I remember right, that's the one where I got an idea. Let's drag back the Ponds for 5 episodes to kill them in a completely unnecessarily stupid way, while completely making everyone look like total idiots. Because the way they did the Weeping Angels in Time of the Angels was just... No, wait, sorry, the Angels Rape Manhattan. It was garbage. I'm not kidding. And people are like, it was one of the best written things ever. Yeah, we've got the Statue of Liberty running around like she did in Ghostbusters 2. How original, really. And, oh yeah, look. Well, you got Moffat on one hand, you know, he always changes his story. Because one second he's going on about how you have to follow rules for certain characters, which is very true, because ultra-powerful God characters are boring unless you give them weaknesses. Because without the weaknesses, it's like, hello, stand aside, mere mortals, while I use my superpowers to save you. Now, Ashildur's done. You're never going to get her back. No. Season 11 was bad, but it's not as bad as they're making it out to be. A lot of people are now blaming Jodie Whittaker, and the problem is you can't really blame the actors. Otherwise, where was all these great glorified revolutionaries when Peter Capaldi, who to me was one of the greatest doctors I've ever seen on screen, had an episode that rated at 3.45 million on the overnights. Yet they're going on and on about Series 11 having this, bleeding of fans and this horrific loss of ratings. Yet meanwhile, it was the highest rated season they've had since 2013. Okay, Series 9. Doctor Series 9. Give me a moment. That was back... Oh, that's right, Capaldi era. That was... Great, now my brain's frying. That's the one that started out, with Magician's Apprentice, which is familiar. That's another instance... All right. One thing I don't like more than anything is when somebody decides they're going to go back into somebody else's thing and start fiddling with it. And the fact of the matter is, like I said, while it turned out to be an okay episode, a couple of episodes, there was a lot wrong with those first 2 in Series 9. For one, why go fiddling around in Davros's timeline just to create this big dilemma when it was completely unnecessary? Plus the 55th reiteration of Skaro. If you think Jodie Whittaker's outfits look bad, go look at what Colin Baker was wearing. Hellbent was good until the end. Now, the fact that they revived Clara, that pissed me off. Once again, this is Moffat. He can't let go of his characters. His characters have to be almighty. The only 2 characters that he had that he actually let go were the Ponds. After that, he brings in Clara. She's okay there for a while when she's traveling with, the 12th Doctor, and sometimes with Matt Smith, when she's just being clever. But then you've got to make her into this ultra-powerful super god character that has her own TARDIS, is basically immortal, and has her own immortal companion. That right there, that's boring. That's bullshit. Why not let the character die in the noble way that she did, which to me would have been far more moving than dragging her back at the end. Plus, it was no surprise because they went and filmed at Eddie's Diner, and there she was in front of God and everybody wearing the waitress's outfit. Hubba hubba. And... that sounded dirty. But why drag her back? Now, Bill Potts, like I said, I enjoyed Bill. Bill was fantastic. Then once again, we leave off with, oh, look, now she can travel space and time with Crybaby Girl or whatever. I don't want to say Wet Girl because that sounded dirty. Or if I said her wet girlfriend, that would definitely really go downhill. But But like I said, I don't think we can blame Whitaker. We have to blame the guys in charge. Before Whitaker came on, and after we found out who she was, I really started doing some stuff where I started looking at her work and all that. She's a very talented actress. So I'm beginning to wonder if it's just, no, that's a rumor. The 2020 is Jodie's last season thing got started by Starburst magazine. Could you tell someone was riding a Harley like a dick? Okay. Okay, this is what's going on. Starburst magazine was the ones who reported that Whitaker and Chibnall were leaving. And what happened was, something had happened months before that article came out where Chibnall had a disagreement with the BBC, and apparently he threatened to leave. Jodie Whittaker never threatened to leave. It was assumed by Starburst, let me put that in capital letters, so big you can read them in the sky, assumed that if Chibnall was leaving, she was going to go with him. So that was all a rumor. It didn't actually happen because, months before Starburst put the article out, the situation had been resolved and done for months. So that's where that started. Also, the other rumor going around is that Chibnall's leaving and to be replaced by Toby Whitehouse. And there's nothing to back that up. That's 150% bullshit. I think Jodie will just do what other doctors do. She'll do 3 seasons and then she's out. And you know what? I wouldn't blame her either because she's been subjected to more scrutiny and hatred than Colin Baker ever faced in the entire time he was the doctor and he got kicked out by the BBC. So, look at that. Ugh. I still can't figure out why that house is still there. Maybe one of these days I'll tell you the story of that house next door. My theory is this. When Jodie does leave, probably in 2021 or 2022, it'll be 3 years and out because we don't know if they're actually going to put a series out a year anymore. It's going to be a guy and it's going to be of a different ethnicity. He's not going to be an English white male. I think it'll be either someone black or they may even, I really wished, I was pulling for Chris Marshall. I was really hoping the stories were true, but, sadly it wasn't. Plus, you got to admire Chris because even though he wasn't offered the role, even if he was, he would have probably turned it down because the reason why he left Death in Paradise is because he was filming like half the year, on the islands, thousands of miles away from his family and his, young son. So that's why he quit. And if he had taken the job with Doctor Who, he'd have been down in Cardiff for anywhere upwards of like 9-10 months a year. So it would have still been, he'd been away from his family, even though they could go down there with him, but who the hell wants to go to Wales voluntarily? Matter of fact, if you've heard, Alan Cumming was offered the role. And he turned it down because they said he'd have to basically move to Wales. It's like, no. Yeah, too many. I haven't watched Death in Paradise since Chris Marshall left. It's just, matter of fact, I heard Danny John Jules has now left. So it's like there's basically just about almost nobody left from the first series that's, there. Doctor Who Experience, we don't know. There's a Doctor Who exhibition now that's operating out of Cardiff Castle. Why would Alpha Omega, why would they cancel the series? As I said before, Series 11 finished with an average of 7.96 million viewers. That is the highest the ratings have been since 2013. Let me repeat that again. Series 11 had a highest series average since 2013. It was one of the highest openers since the beginning of the entire new series. See, that's why I get, why are people running around saying the series is going to be canceled? Why? Because a few guys out there, a few guys and gals are disgruntled and don't like what's going on. You have to remember, Doctor Who's not for us old farts anymore. It's just that simple. They're trying to bring in a younger, more energetic, female and kids more is what they're aiming at. They're trying to expand the audience. 2005 Doctor Who opened with 10.92 million, somewhere around there, which is about the same that Jodie's opened with. So, like I said, I don't have my charts to yank them up, but I could show you on screen. Ariana Grande will never be the Doctor, sorry. Why are they going to cancel the show? Now, here's the big worry though, if Series 12 does not do well, then you're looking at some meetings. But even then, the BBC is not just going to up and go, this ain't like back in the day. They're going to, why would they cancel the series? Duh. Doctor Who brings in £65 million average a year in merchandise. Why would they cancel the series? We haven't seen any ratings yet. Now, if the average ratings go way down like they did towards the end of the Capaldi run, then yeah, we could be looking at cancellation territory. But let's not worry about that till it happens, till we have numbers, till we have hardcore figures to base that off of. Well, I got to get going, guys. It's starting to get dark out here. Look at it. See that? The sun is gone to bed, now so must I. Goodbye. 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 Goodbye.